welcome to the channel again. Today we are at Daikoku Parking Area. So this is like Japan's kind of legendary parking spot where all the meets happen at night. But I think to actually cover this place for the channel initially, I wanted to come here on a Sunday morning because it's a very different experience to what you would be seeing here at night. And I feel it's a much better mix of cars, and you always end up seeing really rare stuff. So I think the best way is just to start walking around and kind of seeing what we come across, starting with stuff like this. I mean, to see one Hako is rare, but to see three lined up like this is pretty unbelievable. And of course, with Hakoskas, it's always hard to tell which are the real deal or not, and by that I mean the real GTR or not. Everybody seems to be running old school GTR badges, but you never really know if it's the actual real thing where would be powered by an S20 2-liter straight six. Who cares when there's these kind of things hanging around and you can just take them in. So as I was saying, it's all about mix here, and you go from literally like a rotary to an old school 911 to a few kind of run-of-the-mill BMWs, nice M3 here, two more Hakoskas, turn around and you got a 32 and a Z SC coming in, or leaving rather, and then talk about rare stuff. I mean, this is a Lancia Thesis. You don't see these. You just don't see them outside of Italy. So this guy's obviously imported this car just to be a bit different. Speaking of Italian cars, forget the 996 GT3 here, but let's start with this Delta. So as you would probably imagine, the Japanese kind of like everything, and of course Italian cars are right up there. And there's a few Deltas here at Daikoku this morning. Started with this older Integrale. This is a later generation, probably a 93, 94 Integrale. Pretty cool scene sandwiching in a 355. There's some interesting Italian thing happening here. Speaking of Deltas, two more over here. And check out the wheels on this. Absolutely wild. This has got the speed lines, but then at the front put the vanes, the discs. For me, it's really cool to be seeing such classics at Daikoku. It means that people still appreciate simplicity, and I think the Roadster is number one in Japan when it comes to offering a very simple, very honest front engine rear-wheel drive platform. These cars are very sought after, and Mazda's actually started offering a restoration program for the NA1. See, I'm not even sure what you would call this. You actually do see some of this stuff in Japan where you run across some BMWs that just have so many accessories on them. So many little wings and little carbon details and like all this sort of stuff. There may be a little bit of over-tuning happening there, I'm not sure, but it kind of adds to the mix. Check out this M2 on Yokohama GTs. Of course, Alpinas are massive in Japan. It's one of the biggest market. So you actually get to see quite a lot at Daikoku on any given night or day. And what do we have over here? Absolutely stunning. Old school Skyline Japan. Preza here with a white body. Now, which one would you choose here? M2 or the old E30 M3? I have to say, I think this M2 is probably the closest spiritual successor to the original M3. Every once in a while you do come across some TVRs in Japan. And this one is on T37s. I'll give a big thumbs up to that. More Team English stuff happening here. And what do we have here? I still have a bit of a love for the Murcielago. I think it's one of the coolest shapes that ever came out. And yeah, it's a manual. So this is a very, very valuable car in today's market. Nice 308 here. Not too sure about the wheels, but definitely better than stock. This guy's got a Morgan three-wheeler. Actually drove that a couple of years ago. It's one of the most fun cars, or whatever the hell you can call it. And seeing the Mercedes episode went down so well, it only makes sense to show you kind of these cars out in the wild. Proper tank here. Look at the brakes. What? Kakkoi desu. Look at the arrow on this thing, it's so wide. 1978. The Honda S800 Coupe. Beautiful. The GT3 RS and a Lambo. A couple of older 911s. God, I love the long nose look. An RS. Unbelievable. Of course, you do get a lot of bikes here at Daikoku. It's always nice to see what people bring. A lot of old school Kawasaki's this morning. Itasha NSX. Always have to be careful with Itasha because usually like naked anime girls on the car, so you gotta watch out what you're showing. I think it's pretty safe. CE28Ns, that's the same wheels I have on the 34. Still love the look of them. Can't believe they're like 25 years old now, if not more. This is something we haven't really come across in a while in Daikoku, a nice VIP, modern VIP take on a Celsior. Kind of reminds me of what B-Dragon used to do 10-15 years ago with their cars, where they kind of go for a nice, gentle blistering of the fenders, all done in metal, of course. We got the Bosozoku bikes coming in. Beautiful Cedric from the 70s, beautifully restored, right next to this Honda CRX, which is actually a Blade Sports on T37s. The colors on these things, look how they pop in the sunshine. So cool. Check out these ones here with the massive saddles. So nothing about these bikes is legal, hence why the number plate is either usually hidden or actually just completely missing. So the whole thing with the Bosozoku movement was basically to, you know, create your own team and run around the streets and make a bit of noise and kind of like be antisocial for the sole purpose of being antisocial. It was kind of a way to rebel a little bit against, you know, conformity and, you know, how strict and rigid the rules are here in Japan. It was a way for these guys, blue collar workers, to kind of rebel a little bit and have a bit of fun along the way. and in the process creating teams and styles, and it's great to see that it's still happening today. It's definitely not as illegal and kind of like underground as it used to be. Obviously they're out in the light of day, but it's a big part of Japanese culture. Look at this. Look at this. Oh my god. That's actually a big known style here in Yokohama, to do these spaceship looking scooters, stretch the wheelbases and drop them down and, you know, on air suspension. There's only 2 of them here, but yeah, very cool to see. We've already talked about the Murcielago here with the 6-speed. So this is probably a car that's worth, God, like $800,000 these days. Crazy market. But this is just pulled up behind it. This is a Fiat 500 Giardinetta, so the station wagon version of the original Fiat 500. And as you can see, it still has the suicide door, so it's, you know, early generation of the car. And I don't know, I'm speechless. Like, I don't understand how people can go and find and bring these cars into Japan. And what car meeting in Japan would possibly be complete without an RWB Porsche? Beautiful wide body here, smooth fenders. So it's gone for the whale tail look. Absolutely stunning. It's got the Magnus Walker sticker. Nice 34 on stock wheels and stock ride height, and yeah. Countach S. I think Italy's being represented quite strongly this morning. I can feel the pride coming out. Look at these views, absolutely incredible. I think that's mainly what most people do when they go out cruising on a Sunday. More bikers coming in. They basically hit up Daikoku first and then continue to drive along the Wangan. If you go up from here, you can actually head out to the Aqua Line and go and check out Umiotaru, or you can actually make it up to Tatsumi. That's one parking area we still need to drop by, although it's kind of been ruined. In recent years, they've put barriers up blocking the view so people wouldn't, you know, park up and take pictures of their cars. And the latest addition is actually a ramp, like a big bump on the exit, which caught out a bunch of people. You've probably seen videos floating around the internet of like Lamborghini Aventador getting some air. But yeah, I mean, it's basically about, you know, taking advantage of such a beautiful day and going for a drive, stretching the car's legs in the morning when there's no traffic. So in the meantime, while I've been walking around and chatting, the deltas have kind of come together here. That's a pretty rare lineup, even for Japan. And I've definitely never seen a lineup like this in Italy. Corvette, oh yeah. Z06, Megane RS. And if I'm not mistaken, that's an Autech 4-door GTR. Stock wheels. It's like the family car. Much respect. More bikers coming through. Saw it a mile away, but yeah, it's a 432. So the cool thing about this car is that it was the homologation car for the race versions of the Z. So it came with the S20 GTR Hakosuka engine. And these cars are fetching close to $1 million in Japan. So seeing one out on the street like this, it's very, very special. And this has the black hood look, which is what the R version of this car had. Absolutely beautiful. Like two legends, one after the other. Okay, so like I was just saying, the 432 is the Z that came with the GTR engine.
Racing manifold.
Ah, racing manifolds.
Racing distributor.
Ah, distributor. Ah, ignition coil, ne? Ah, Weba. Mikuni? Mikuni. So yeah, it's slightly not modified but perfected. You know, it's got the racing headers, upgraded ignition, and then the 44mm Mikuni carbs. You go from pure simplicity of 911 execution to the very latest GT3, which is equally as cool, but for totally different reasons. So I mean, it is a nice place to come by. You can even get away with having dinner here. Back in the day, up on these stairs they had a McDonald's. Not really sure why they took it away. It was a big hangout place for car guys. But now, all the way up there's a convenience store, so you know, you have a lot of choice when it comes to food and drinks. And it kind of allows you to enjoy and stay here longer.